Hey everybody, it's JC the Sniper again with another blade review, and this time I have the Gerber Mini Ridge. That knife right there. Philosophy of use for this knife, obviously everyday carry. Definitely not a tactical knife. Short blade, 1.8 inch blade, you know, just not a tactical knife in any sense of the word. Size and weight, 1.8 inch blade. Gerber says 1.81, but I'm not going to be that anal about it. And closed length is supposedly 3 inches. So open, you know, it's about 4 or 5 inches open. So very small knife. Weight on this knife is really good. It's like 1.2 or 1.4 ounces, I can't remember which, but you know, at that point, who really cares? It's just above an ounce. So very, very light. As you can see, it only has half a handle. And the knife just sits here. Of course, there's kind of a ridge there that's raised up that guards the blade so that you don't cut yourself on it. But other than that, half a handle. You know, so that's part of what makes it so light. Basically, it's a clip and then a little piece of metal and then the blade. So kind of a unique design. Columbia River has the Kiss, which is essentially the same knife, and I think Gerber once again ripped it off, just like they ripped the Evo from the Columbia River M16. You know, two identical knives. It's the same way with the Kiss knife and the Ridge. They're almost exactly the same. Steel, once again, is Gerber Mystery Steel. We don't really know. They say it's a high carbon stainless steel. So, you know, whatever you interpret that as. This steel I actually find seems to be a little bit harder than some of the other steels I've encountered with Gerber, such as this Gerber Evo, which I think is a 420 stainless. This seems to be harder than that. It holds an edge better. So, I don't know, kind of interesting. Also, seems to be a little bit harder than the steel on this Gerber pear frame. So I'm not real sure, obviously, what it is, since they don't tell you. But, you know, some sort of high carbon stainless that we're not exactly sure about. Now, this knife, as it comes from the factory, well, let's talk about blade shape a little bit. It's kind of a reverse Tonto. They call it a Tonto, but it's really a reverse Tonto. And it's got a straight or razor edge blade. You know, no belly whatsoever. So that's a little bit interesting. And it's got a flat grind. And of course, this side is flat. So it's only single ground. Single bevel grind. Also on this, now the blade was single bevel when it came from the factory, and I beveled the other side of it because I find that it makes it easier to sharpen and holds a better edge, and you can get a sharper edge that way. But came pretty sharp from the factory actually, so fairly sharp knife. Not the sharpest when it came, but I touched it up and it's, you know, pretty decent. I carried this knife for a little while, so you know, it's got some scratches and dings, but I kind of gave it up once I got my pear frame because I think this is a better knife. But anywho, speed is non-existent with this knife, which is one of the reasons I switched, because when you have this closed, you can't really hold it anyhow to try to open it. And then where the thumb stud is mounted is almost like, you know, almost in line with the pivot point. So you can't really actuate the thumb stud, at least that's what I found. I find that you have to turn the knife sideways in your hand and then almost push on the blade itself to open it like that, and then use the thumb stud to rotate it out, which is a little bit of an irritation in my opinion. And you can see there, that line is from me pushing the blade and the tip scratching against the finish as it comes out. So I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's kind of stupid. So speed is non-existent, which is part of the reason that I switched to this when I got it, because that's a lot faster. And then switch to this one, because that's even faster. So, speed's an issue with this one. Of course, if you don't care, then it's not a big deal. Lockup. This is a modified frame lock, a center frame lock. As you can see there, a part of the frame, which would be the liner if this had handle scales, pops up and locks in there. But it's a frame lock, so that's you know, that's a pretty strong lockup, stronger than anything you're going to be needing to, you know, do with a 1.8-inch blade. And there's no wiggle at all. I mean, it locks in there tight when it's locked, really tight. So that's pretty cool. And strength, you know, we talked about strength a little bit just now. It's pretty strong, just because it's all steel and there's nothing there to break. And of course, adjustable pivot point, which I've never had a need to adjust, but it's really sturdy. However, I could see if you were holding it this way and didn't have your hand all the way up here, you could, if you squeezed it tight, actuate that frame lock and allow the blade to swing down. So you just need to be aware of that and keep your thumb away from it if you're holding it this way. If you're holding it this way, it's not a problem. Handle material, obviously, is stainless, and there's not really any handle. So that's pretty much it. Clip design. This is actually a pretty cool clip because it's looped and comes up all the way to the top. So when this is in your pocket, that's all you're going to see is a little circle of metal sticking out. So, you know, that's pretty much invisible, and nobody can really tell what that is because it's just a little round circle. So it doesn't just scream knife when you see, you know, that, especially that clip shape. You know, it's kind of interestingly shaped and cut out and real wide, because I think they intended that you could use it as a money clip as well. So, you know, not real visible. The tip of the clip is not very long, so it's really hard to get in your pants, like to clip it into a pocket. And I think that's because they kind of intended it more as a money clip than a clip for your pants. So, durability's good. You know, it just holds up. It's all steel, holds up the same as the Paraframe, which has held up good. I've had it, you know, had this one for 7 years now, and it's still going strong. So, I've had this about as long. I didn't use it as much, but it holds up well. So, basically, this is a knife for people who don't have a lot of pocket space or need something small. Just, you know, maybe you cut boxes open every now and again and you just want a little thing, maybe to throw in a pair of dress pants if you work in an office. Of course, if I worked in an office, I'd carry this, but that's just me. Not everybody carries a 4-inch blade around with them. If you want something smaller, this might be the ticket. You know, for about the same size and weight, you know, this is a little bit lighter. Well, yeah, this is less than an ounce. This is a little bit over an ounce, so a little bit lighter, but you know, comparatively similar size, a little bit smaller, but you know, you carry something like this and you get that. And I'm gonna say that this is better. So, you know, if those are what you're gonna choose between, you might go with that. Or you could get something like this Sheffield knife, you know, 3-inch blade, but once again, this is much smaller, you know, and a lot thinner. So, you know, if you need a small knife, this could be the ticket. You know, it's not going to have a whole lot of cutting capability for you, but it does hold an edge fairly well, and it has a razor edge, so for cutting boxes open or, you know, something like that, this might be serviceable for you. So, Gerber Mini Ridge. I'm going to call this a decent EDC knife for some users. This won't meet everyone's needs, but it will meet some limited needs. People who work in office buildings or something like that. So, anyway, this comes in around $20, maybe a little bit less than that. So, it's an okay value. Alright, Gerber Mini Ridge, JC the Sniper, signing off.